Thank you. Evan, will you take the roll?
Vitale,
Present,
Fleming,
designation,
Green,
designation,
Hohenstein, Isaacson, Kazim,
designation,
Mays,
designation,
Otten, Pielli, Salisbury,
designation,
Siegel,
designation,
Steele, Takak, Webster,
designation.
Causer,
Here.
Armanini, Barton,
Designation.
Borowitz,
Designation.
Cook, Ham, Kephart, Schemmel, Stambaugh, Werner,
Designation.
Wentling.
Okay, so we have one bill on the agenda, House Bill 589 by Rep. Kincaid. Do we have a motion and a second to take up the bill, Mary and
Second.
Andy? Okay, so we've taken up the bill. There is one amendment to the bill, Amendment 5103 by Rep. Steele. Do we have a motion and a second? Mary and Mandy, we'll give you the second there. Okay, can we have, Evan, a combined explanation of the bill and the amendment?
House Bill 589 establishes a state-run landslide insurance program. And Amendment A05103 from Rep. Steele is an omnibus amendment that shifts primary responsibility for the program from the department to the board, and also shifts the agency from DEP to DCNR, as well as separates out the existing coal and clay mine subsidence insurance program from House Bill 589.
Okay, Rep. Kincaid, would you like to say a couple of words on your bill?
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. And I'd like to start by thanking you profusely for bringing up this bill. This bill is one of those bills that in many ways is probably not even going to be a footnote in the history of this legislature, but has the ability to really profoundly impact the lives of so many people. In 2023, in just Allegheny County and Westmoreland County, there were 173 landslides. In the Pittsburgh region in 2022, there were over 200 landslides because of record rainfall. The entirety of southwestern Pennsylvania, if you look at where landslides happen, just lights up kind of bright red, and it impacts sort of across our northern state. In my district, there was a house that fell entirely off the side of a hill. And thankfully, there was nobody that was actually in that house at that time. But it also damaged some of the houses that were around it. So 5 different families lost their homes in one landslide, and there is no insurance that exists to help them recover from that. There is no program. Nothing helps. There is no coverage under homeowners insurance. There's no assistance. A family of 4 in my district lost their lives in a house fire because emergency services could not get to them because there was a landslide. This is a huge problem in our state and especially in southwestern Pennsylvania. When I ran for office, if you had asked me if I was going to become an expert on landslides, that was not what I really thought was going to happen. But this is something that every single time that there is a landslide, my office gets calls from people near tears or in tears begging me to ask me how they sign up for this program because they know that this is my bill. And not having this available is costing people their safety net, their security, and so the ability to provide insurance at the state level where private insurance does not have any desire to step in is really critical. And 60 years ago, this legislature recognized that the commercial insurance industry was not going to step in when it came to mine subsidence, and so created the mine subsidence insurance program. What this does is models a similar program on landslides to provide a similar insurance. It takes a stepped approach, starting out with a cap of coverage at $150,000 in order to allow for the solvency of the fund to build up and to provide at least some relief at this point for people who need it. It allows or it encourages municipalities to come up with landslide mitigation plans in order to bring the premium cost for individuals down. It's actually, just to kind of briefly correct it, it's actually going to be overseen by DCED, not DCNR. DCNR is involved in terms of surveying and تص the areas that are landslide prone and who would be eligible for this insurance. It is something that is just necessary to help people. And I appreciate my co-prime Rep Gatos in reaching out to get this moving, because this is the sort of second iteration of this version of landslide insurance, but landslide insurance has been proposed every session since 2011. And it was 1977 when the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette identified landslides as a major threat to the southwestern Pennsylvania region. This is an issue where it's prevention is not an option. We are so far beyond the point of prevention, and we need to give people insurance coverage that allows them to recover, because most of these people are living in homes that were built long before landslides were a threat in our region, and through no fault of their own are losing their homes or losing the complete value of their homes because of landslides. And so I appreciate so much you bringing this up, because this is going to change lives in southwestern Pennsylvania and across Pennsylvania. So thank you, Chairman.
Oh, sure. Rep. Gatos, did you want to say a couple of words?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Kincaid, for championing this to move this bill forward. I think everything that Representative Kincaid was spot on, but I want to add that this also helps municipalities, because there are a lot of roads that end up falling off of cliffs just like the homes do, and that not only impacts a homeowner, but it impacts entire communities where roads are being closed because municipalities also do not have the funds needed to repair these landslides. This affects fire, fire access. As Representative Kincaid said, that these roads that fall down, that you can't have big trucks going on them because it'll further erode these roads. Garbage pickup. We've had a number of communities where they can still pass by where a landslide has occurred, but then all the large heavy vehicles are prohibited from going on those roads. So this is impacting entire communities, not just individual homeowners. And to have something like a landslide insurance fund is absolutely instrumental to get our communities back to work. And I'd also like to point out that this is in Western Pennsylvania primarily. It's huge. We've been blessed with the type of geology that gives us oil and gas, but the same geology that gives us oil and gas also produces these landslides. And it has been devastating for our communities. So to have a fund like this is really what government is for. I know it's a big expenditure, but this is to provide catastrophic coverage for both individuals and municipalities to get our state working again and getting people to work. So I appreciate all the work that Representative Kincaid and the committee has done to help move this forward, and I appreciate all your work. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We have before us Amendment 5103 by Rep. Steele. Discussion. We'll start out with Rep. Steele.
Thank you, Chair. This is a gut and replace amendment, but it does keep the majority of the bill intact. The primary change here is shifting the responsibility for the program from the department to the Landslide Insurance Board, and also changes the department from DEP to DCED. I would add that Rep. Gatos, Rep. Kincaid, and I all live in very landslide-prone areas. We are, my own road was closed for 8 months, which was fun because it added 25 minutes response time to emergency services providers, so that was a little bit scary. One of my neighbors had to use his entire retirement savings to clean up and repair damage to his home from a landslide. Neighbor directly across the street from me. We live in a wooded area with steeply sided slopes. And to expand on what Rep. Gato said, we're blessed with natural and gas resources, which gives us at times methane leaks, which is causing climate change, which is fueling the shift in weather patterns, and we're seeing an increase in rain, which is really largely driving these landslides. So proud to participate in this bill. Thank you to Rep. Kincaid for the excellent work on this. We really need this.
Okay, any other question or discussion on Amendment 5103? Rep. Schemmel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the amendment and the bill seem to be, we're discussing that together. And forgive me for not having reviewed it thoroughly in advance, but is there anything in the bill that prevents people from building in these landslide prone areas in the future? I mean, if this is such a liability that has to be shifted onto the taxpayers, are we at least not making this any worse?
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, this actually ends up standing up an independent fund. So the Mine Subsidence Insurance Fund is self-funded through premium payments. What this does is a one-time infusion of funds to get it stood up so that we can start, helping people now. But it ultimately is self-funded, similar to the Mine Subsidence Insurance Fund. But part of this bill is the mitigation aspect for municipalities to come up with a plan in terms of zoning and other methods to prevent landslides from happening. So yes, in terms of development, it would, the goal is to incentivize municipalities to zone and develop appropriately around a lot of this stuff. The other aspect of it is if someone is developing irresponsibly and negligently in a landslide-prone area, it would not be covered under this insurance. So it's sort of a carrot and stick method to encourage people to develop responsibly.
So as part of that, if someone's home is destroyed by a landslide and they make use of the fund, is that to rebuild, or are we not rebuilding there because it doesn't make sense to continue to use money to rebuild in these bad places?
I think that would ultimately end up a decision between the municipality and the homeowner. Most of the time, if your building has been destroyed by a landslide, there's nothing left to build on. So I guess the goal on my end, and I can't necessarily control what people spend their money on, is that it would allow them to get out from under a mortgage on a house that no longer exists or no longer has value, and into another home that would be safer and still able to provide.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Schemmel. I think that's an outstanding question, and certainly we'll make sure, going back into the bill, to make sure that that's absolutely clear what we just stated, because most of the time engineers have to come out after a landslide, and in many of our cases, and I know in a recent landslide that was in my district, they recommended that the 3 homeowners abandon their property until the engineers can come and figure out what it is that they can do there, and most likely that they will tear down those 3 houses as well as what has happened into other parts of my district as well. They remove those homes, shore up the side with rocks or whatever that is recommended by the engineers. So, but that is an issue.
Okay, any other questions or discussions? Okay, we are, okay, I just want to say that it's a gut and replace, so the amendment will become the bill, so.
So I'll defer to Mr. Tate.
Rep. Takak?
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you all for the opportunity. One of the other things that the amendment does is it strips out sinkholes from the bill. And this is an emerging issue in Center County. In fact, on Christmas Day in 2022, a huge sinkhole opened up in a parking lot, which actually destabilized 12 townhomes. And many of those people lost everything, every investment they had in those dwellings as well. It does affect the townships. It affects roads. It affects infrastructure. You know, we've lost pipes and sewer lines. There's been a couple of them recently on Penn State's campus, which closed a parking deck for some time. So I'm very concerned about the exclusion or removal of sinkholes, but I have had very productive conversations with the prime sponsor and with Rep. Steele. So, in order to move this process along, I certainly will be supportive of this, but I would like to see continuing dialogue about making sure that we do address the sinkhole issue as well, which is, again, a geographic phenomenon, but I think it's a proper role that we need to take on in order to make sure that we're protecting our townships and our citizenry. So thank you very much.
Okay. Rep. Fleming, did you want to?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say thank you to Representative Kincaid and Representative Gatos for putting this forward. I happen to be working at the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency back in 2004 when Tropical Depression Ivan came through western Pennsylvania and dumped a whole bunch of rain, and saw the effects of that and landslides. Really was made aware of that reporting from our western Pennsylvania counties. So this is something that is, to the point that you both made, long overdue, and I'm happy to support this, particularly as we talk about, making sure that we make people whole, because they're in a situation where, these developments or these homes were built a long time ago when this wasn't an issue. Now it is. So we have to deal with the reality we're in now, as opposed to, what the reality was previously. So I just wanted to thank you both and commend you, and this has my full support.
Thank you, Chair Cowser.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to both of you for your work on the bill. I've had some concerns expressed, particularly the appropriation that's in the bill, but in the interest of moving this forward, I'm going to support the bill. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the amendment? Okay. Evan, would you take the roll on the amendment?
Vitale,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Green,
Designation, yes.
Hohenstein,
Yes.
Isaacson, Kazim,
Designation, yes.
Mays,
Designation, yes.
Otten, Pielli,
Yes.
Salisbury,
Designation, yes.
Siegel,
Designation, yes.
Steele, Takak,
Yes.
Webster,
Yes.
Causer,
Yes.
Armanini,
No.
Barton,
Proxy, yes.
Borowitz,
Proxy, no.
Cook,
Yes.
Ham,
No.
Kephart,
No.
Schemmel, Stambaugh,
Yes.
Warner,
Proxy, yes.
Wentling.
Okay, the amendment passes. Now we will take up House Bill 589 as amended, which essentially, the amendment actually becomes the bill. Is there any questions or comments on the bill as amended? Okay, not seeing any. Evan, can you take the roll?
Vitale,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Green,
Designation, yes.
Hohenstein,
Yes.
Isaacson, Kazim,
Designation, yes.
Mays,
Designation, yes.
Otten, Pielli,
Yes.
Salisbury,
Designation, yes.
Siegel,
Designation, yes.
Steele, Takak,
Yes.
Webster,
Yes.
Causer,
Yes.
Armanini,
No.
Barton,
Yes.
Borowitz,
No.
Cook,
Yes.
Ham,
No.
Kephart,
No.
Schemmel, Stambaugh,
Yes.
Warner,
Yes.
Wentling.
Okay, the bill as amended passes and will be reported to the House as a whole. There's no other business before the committee now. Marty, do you have any closing comments?
Not at this time.
Okay, then this meeting is adjourned.